Life is precious. I think we would all agree. But often we find that we take the very things that we do every day in life for granted until something happens in a blink of an eye. Hello, I'm Tom Russo, and this is In a Blink of an Eye, where we discuss stories from ordinary people whose lives are changed in an instant and how they overcome through faith, courage, and determination. Join me on this podcast for uplifting stories of how people face various challenges and learn to not only survive, but to thrive. In a Blink of an Eye is sponsored by Marketplace.live. Find what you need and get what you want at Marketplace.live. That's Marketplace.live. Well, I've got to tell you, today we've got a special treat. We've got a friend of mine from many, many years ago, going all the way back to, I guess, my sophomore year in high school. Sheryl Salyers is with us today. Sheryl, thank you for joining us today.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's so good to see you.
I am
So
I,
good.
I am so excited, and I know we've gotten to catch up here a little bit off camera, but it's been almost 35, 40 years since we really had any substantive conversation. And I know so many things have happened in your life that we want to share, both great and tragic. But why don't we let the audience hear a little bit about where you're from, where you grew up, what you're doing in your life, and that kind of stuff.
Well, like you said, we met in Houston. I was a freshman in high school, I guess. I'm originally from Georgia. Um, so when you and I met, I guess, back in 1984,
Or
83?
83, maybe?
Ugh,
83.
83.
Yeah.
Mom and myself were living in that apartment, and you and I met, I guess, on the bus. I
Yeah,
think it
I
was.
think on the
Yeah,
bus, and
because
then
it
I
was
started I started actually when I got my car, I think I started driving in the morning because you lived fairly close to where my
and
house was. So
yep, that
yeah,
big blue
you were
car.
at the time going out with one of my best friend's brothers, and that whole bit.
All that
So
fun
yeah,
stuff.
so good, wonderful.
Yeah,
And
yeah. So
I know your junior year you moved back to Georgia. Is that right?
yes, my junior year, at the end of my junior year, Mom and I decided we wanted to move back to Georgia. So we packed it up and came back here. Um, Loved it here. This is home. It will always be home. Um,
Well, come on,
I
you got a
got,
little bit of Texas in you. Come on.
oh, definitely, especially with the food. So that's a whole nother trip.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
But you're a Southern belle. I get it.
I
I
am a
get it.
Southern belle through and through.
I get it.
My let's see, I got married and had two beautiful boys, and here I am enjoying retirement and trying to figure out what my next calling is.
Right,
So
right. Now, this is your second marriage,
yes,
correct?
yes,
And we'll talk about that in a minute. But I know I want to go back to something that was kind of tragic in your life, and this was before your first marriage.
correct.
You had a boyfriend. I believe his name was Dennis Henry. Is that correct?
Dennis Henry. Yes,
And you guys were a pretty good item there for a little while,
we
and
were. We
something
were.
tragic happened. Tell us about that.
Um, Dennis and his family were so instrumental in my life, even today, as a Christian, because it was through him and his family that I came to know the Lord. And
Yeah.
so that was super special. Um, um, Unfortunately, the following January of my senior year in high school, Dennis accidentally shot himself, and
Now you had said he was an avid hunter, right?
He was an avid hunter, yes.
Okay.
He had gotten a new gun for Christmas and was just cleaning it and running the bullets through the bolting
And
action.
so while it was suicide, I guess by the letter of the law, it was more an accident than it was a
Absolutely.
right.
Yeah, no doubt about it. They did lines and tests. They had actually left his body um, there in the house to run
All
these
kinds of things. And
all
you
kinds of things.
unfortunately were the one that discovered it, right?
Yeah, yeah, I was,
Oh
we were
my lord.
supposed to go to lunch that day, and, him and my other 2 cousins were supposed to meet us, and unfortunately, when I went to his house, he didn't answer, and so I went around to, his window just to knock on the window, thinking he's probably listening to his stereo too loud or whatever. Didn't answer, and, I just happened to move the blinds away. There was a hole in the window, not from the shotgun, but because a kid had thrown a baseball through there just
Right.
a few days before, but, um, moved the blinds away, and he wasn't facing me, but he was face down, and you could definitely see that. Yeah,
Cheryl,
yeah.
I can't even imagine what it was like for you, and I know that had to send you reeling for a while from questioning your faith to just the sheer shock of seeing that and going through that. Tell me a little bit about that.
Um, well, yeah, actually, it's funny how God works. He sort of protects you from the things that you see. Um,
Absolutely.
so for a long time, for years and years afterward, I didn't even process it fully. It wasn't until the last, oh, I don't know, 5, 10 years through counseling that I
That it
really
kinda
went through
came
that.
out and came.
Absolutely. And
So
when it
so,
came,
just so that I understand and our audience understands, does that mean you kind of compartmentalized it? You kind of had it in
I,
the back of your mind, not that you didn't think about it or realize it, but you just kind of put it on the side. It just
yes,
wasn't, you didn't deal with it per se.
I didn't deal with it. Not at all. Of course, I was sad and traumatized and just completely, um, shell shocked.
Well, and you were so
Just
young at the time. I mean, that
I
you
had
were
just turned 18.
you were a
I
very young lady. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
that's I can't, again, I can't even imagine. That's just incredible from a sad standpoint, that you tragedy that you had to witness that, and that's
His parents and both of his sisters, they were so good to me and just never lost touch with me. They supported me, you know,
so you got a lot of
w
strength from his own family.
oh,
And
absolutely,
like you said, he
absolutely.
had kinda brought you to the Lord a little bit more,
He
and
did.
I think that probably helped you more
Oh,
than you realized,
tremendously,
probably.
tremendously,
Yeah.
because at least you know, I knew that God knew what I was feeling and, having these thoughts. I mean, I couldn't even sleep in my bed by myself
Right.
for
I
months after
again,
that.
I can't even fathom that, and so
Yeah.
that's and I wish, not wish, I yeah, I guess wish is the right word, that that was the end of the story for you, but really it's just the beginning of a journey
Yeah.
you've been on since. Tell me a little bit now, you got married, how many years after that did you marry your first husband?
let's see, that was 91, so about 4 years.
Okay, okay, so
Yeah,
you're
about
22, 23 years old, something like
yeah,
that, and
yeah,
you get married for the first time,
yes,
and you have 2 wonderful young men,
yes,
children. Um,
yes,
and I
um,
know you're exceptionally proud of both of them, but I
yes,
also know that something exceptionally tragic happened with that.
yes,
Tell us your boys' names are Troy and Trevor, right?
yes,
And
yes.
and tragedy struck Troy.
Yeah, Troy, um, Troy. Troy was so much like me, looked like his daddy, but he had my intellect, he had my outgoingness, he just loved music, loved, loved life, loved people, took care of his friends. I mean, he was just the best kid.
He was a good
Um,
kid.
and he unfortunately started to experiment with drugs. Addiction came into play. He, his whole dream back when he was about 17 or 18 was he wanted to be in a rock and roll band. And that was all he wanted.
Right.
So, and I think a lot of boys can
Can
can also relate to
empathize
that.
with that, absolutely.
But he just um continued with the drug use and ended up in heavy addiction. And we meaning at this point in time,
Your
me
first
and his
husband.
father
Right.
had already divorced.
Okay.
And so Troy was living down in Savannah. I was up here in Macon. But he during his addiction phase, he just didn't want help. He wanted to do what he wanted to do. He had that mindset. It was his life. But his father and I both, we brought
Tried.
him into
Right.
counseling. Right. We took him to counseling, did all of that. And in
And
and
as
out of
you know,
coun
if somebody doesn't want help, they're not going to get it.
right.
It's not
Right.
going to do any good. They have to have it internally.
Right. And so eventually he did decide he was dealing with suicide ideation, going through the motions, but not really committing suicide. Did that for, oh, I don't know, a year or two before it really happened. Um, and when he was 21, he decided he did not want to deal with his mental health issues any longer and committed suicide. He
Sweetheart,
hanged
I'm
himself.
so sorry for you.
Yeah.
I know that that is a difficult thing to talk about, and it saddens me because I remember on Facebook seeing when he was alive and all of the wonderful posts you would post about your Troy boy,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I loved that. I loved the love that you have for both of your boys, and
Yeah.
I know that never ends as a mother. I know that.
It does.
But I know that this was a tragedy of unspeakable events, and for you to have to have gone through what you went through with Dennis and then this, um, I I and this hits home even more. I mean, yes, you found the body the first time, but this I just I
It's my child.
I
I
your
mean, it's
child.
my, it's, it,
I don't even know what to say because it breaks my heart. And I want you to know that I've always been praying for you and your family since because it's always been on my mind that you've had to deal with that. But let's talk about that because If there's ever been a time to lean on your faith, this was it. This was that time.
This was that time, but, that didn't come so easy.
No,
I
I'm
was
sure it didn't. Uh,
I was angry.
I I
I
I
mean,
I know that anger, on a much lesser basis with what happened to my eye, and
right.
I know that when it first happened and I had to retire from teaching, I was angry. Because
Yeah,
why was God taking this away from me when I
right.
enjoyed it so much and when I felt like I was making a difference? And I'm not even trying to compare the 2 to yours because yours is so much more tragic, but I understand and can empathize that feeling of why. Why, God? Why did this happen? How did you
Well,
deal with that?
um, your prayers, Cindy's prayers, friends and family of Troy and my other son, Trevor, they just lifted us up. Um, that's the only way I got through it. That is honest to goodness the only way.
Were your boys
Um,
close? Were they
oh,
close?
very,
Very?
very close.
So I'm sure it affected Trevor quite a bit as well.
It did. It did. Um, him and see, they were both living with their dad at that time.
Okay.
Um, and uh, it just, yeah, it it rocked them uh, to their core. Unfortunately, his dad was the one that found him.
Mm.
Um, he came home from work, and unfortunately, Scott, his dad, I'm sure he still has moments when he sees that. I pray for him
I have no doubt.
still. Yeah, yeah. But
Are
we
you
got
guys still
through it.
close?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I
Well,
mean, we don't talk,
oh,
a whole
I
bunch.
understand. I mean, it's a different
Right.
dynamic, but
Yeah. Oh sure, sure.
you share children, so I know that you try to keep that road open to some degree, so that's
Absolutely. Well, when you have children and one of them dies, you've had children, you've lost children, whether or not you're together, it's still that's your bond,
yeah,
no matter.
yeah.
Um, but when um afterwards, after I think we all kind of got our legs back up under us, I had mom who surrounded me. I had my husband, friends,
I have such
in
fond
laws.
memories of your mom too, she was always so
Oh,
sweet to me.
she's, uh, couldn't have done it without her. I really couldn't. She was there for me 24/7. Um, because obviously, as a mother, she worried about her child,
Right.
me, and didn't know, wanted to make sure I was going to make it through something
Absolutely,
this, tragic.
absolutely. I mean, this was life altering, this was the true epitome of a blink of an eye. I mean, it
Yes.
really is.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're here talking to me about it is an accomplishment in and of itself, and the courage that you show and have towards that, I admire.
You know, I've never minded anyone ever asking me about what happened to Troy or anything like that because it it keeps his memory alive,
Right.
you know?
And
It
it's
does that.
interesting you say that because, like you and I mentioned off camera a couple of podcasts ago, I had another lady that her husband had committed suicide, and she said almost the exact same thing
Right.
that it actually is cathartic for her to talk about it
Yes.
rather than not talk about it and hide it. So I
Mhm.
guess the interesting thing to me was with Dennis, you said it was more compartmentalized, but
Right.
this it's more out in the open and you want to talk about it and you want to keep that memory alive. Not that you didn't want to keep Dennis's memory alive, but it happened when you were younger and you had a different outlook on life probably at that point.
Oh,
And
sure.
your faith was probably young at that point too. And
Yes.
so now I think, your faith has matured and you have a even stronger relationship with God. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And out of that tragedy has borne some incredible news, because I know you're actually very active in the suicide prevention and suicide awareness activities there in Georgia. Tell me a little bit about that and something that you're doing that's very, very special in my eyes.
Well, I haven't yet, fingers crossed, but, I am, very much, um I support AFSP, that's American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, um, AFSP.org, if you will. Um,
I'll make sure I
but
put that on the bottom for people to
yeah,
check out.
definitely, please, please,
If you have a
anyone
phone
that
number too, or like a suicide hotline
well,
number or something,
yes,
uh,
it's a text, 988. You don't even have to call. So yeah, they've kind of
just 988
yep, 988. Text
text
988.
number, okay.
Hit
And that's
send.
like a suicide
Someone will
hotline or
contact
something
you
like that?
directly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So I know
Exactly.
you're working with these groups, but I know you're also pursuing something pretty special for you.
Well, I would love to be I would love to be involved with the Macon chapter of AFSP. Uh, just because Macon and the surrounding area, Bibb County, Jones County, Monroe County, they don't necessarily have uh,
The
um,
resources.
the resources to get out there and to go to groups because a lot of the funding and so forth obviously it goes towards research but it also goes to helping people connect through groups that people might have
Well, and I think that's not unlike the rest of the country. I think you're probably saying something that affects a lot of the country. I don't know that the resources are there that need to be there for
right
this problem because it's epidemic as far as I'm concerned, and that's
it's
sad.
it is it's very sad.
But people need to know that there are people out there that will help them and discuss things with them or just listen. A lot of times I think, and this is counselor Tom talking, but a lot of times it's just I think people just want somebody to listen. They don't even necessarily want anybody to talk. They just want, God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a
One
reason.
mouth. That's
And,
right. That's exactly right.
as big of a mouth as I have, sometimes that's hard, uh,
You and me both, brother.
but but I know you're also pursuing becoming a grief counselor, is that correct?
Yes, yes. I'm in the process, 12 weeks away from that. So I'm excited about going through the 12-week program that starts here at well, next week, actually. You can do it online and it's basically, how to counsel people who are dealing with grief. And it's so important. You wouldn't think that anybody would need a course on that, but there are so many different things that are involved with grief. Again, you have to be a good listener, not a good talker. Of course, you're going to be able to
Communicate some, yes.
communicate some, direct people, you know, um, on how they can get help, and so forth. But especially with the rural towns and rural places, they don't get they don't have anyone or a group to go to that far out away from everything.
Well, Cheryl, that
Uh,
is a beautiful thing that is being born out of this horrific tragedy, and I know that you will be an absolute blessing for that role. And I hope that you stay in touch and let us know how the progress is going when you get that certificate and get started.
oh, well.
I am so proud of you for that, and I've got goosebumps just talking about it because I can't tell you how proud I am of you because that's special.
You think, all this time I've been wondering, I'm sure you've asked a time or two, why did I have to go through this? What good can come of this?
Right.
And I think that sometimes that comes much later, and God says, okay, Cheryl, it's time for you to get up and do something. Do something about this. Help those that can't help themselves, that can't get to meetings, that aren't involved in a church family. You know, we as people
Jesus
of,
talked about that, and Jesus talked about that throughout the Bible,
yes,
where he said, "Help those who can't help themselves."
that's
and
exactly
and
right.
offer yourself in ways that you don't even dream of.
That's right.
That's why I started this podcast, and
Yeah.
I think that's that same call that you're doing to become this counselor. And I can't commend you enough for it because it's such a beautiful thing, and I know you're just going to be outstanding at it.
Well, in the Bible, it does say, one of my favorite scripture is, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And that's Philippians 4:13. So write it down,
I
remember
am.
it.
I'm gonna put it on Philippians 4:13.
That's right. That's
Um,
right. And sometimes it takes time to strengthen you. And then he'll reveal it, you know. It
well, and that really says it all to me. That Philippians 4:13 says it all. I think
yeah.
you're answering that call from God. You're answering that call, and um, eh, you said it's a 12-week journey to
Yeah.
get to the finish
Yes.
line there, and
Yes. And then
then you'll be
after
able to
that,
help then you'll be able to help people, more so than you even do now, because I know you already help people now, and just by telling the story.
well, it's people like you that ask the question. And the question is, Cheryl, would you mind telling your story? And I never have a problem with that.
I
Ever.
I think that's fantastic. What is something that you would like to leave? We're coming up on our 30-minute mark, and I always like to be cognizant of our time that
Yeah.
we prepare for this. But tell me something that you would like to leave the audience with that talks about this suicide, that talks about how we can help each other and help each other through grief and depression and drug addiction.
Um, I would say that you have to love yourself. That is where it begins. If you don't love yourself, you cannot help those around you.
Right.
Troy loved everyone, and everybody knew that. When he died, that church was packed. You couldn't get people in the church because there were so many people. But Troy didn't take care of himself.
Right. He put
And
everybody
so,
else's needs ahead of his own.
exactly, exactly. And so it's important to remember, you hear a lot these days about self care and taking that extra time or that extra minute to pray, journal, read, just do something for you that's healthy and cathartic, whether it's meditate, whether it's reading scripture, singing, it doesn't matter. Go for a walk. Do something for yourself.
And I think that's such sound advice. It's such sage advice. What a beautiful soul you are, and what a wonderful lady, and you've been through so much. I know you lost your mom not too long ago, and I know that was also a difficult time for you. But I know you've remarried, and I know that you've got a lot of happiness in your life right now.
I do.
Thank God for that. And I'm excited for you for that, because that's a beautiful thing. And you still like Pat Benatar,
Love her. She's very
so that's a
cathartic too.
wonderful thing too for you. I think that's great. We're up against the 30 minutes, and so I'm gonna kind of read my final thing here, and then hang on. I'll cut it, and we'll go from there. But if you
Okay.
like hearing uplifting stories of overcoming challenges in life, click the like and subscribe button. It's somewhere around here somewhere. Perhaps you have a story of your own to share: an accident, sudden loss, PTSD, alcohol, drug abuse, a natural disaster, illnesses, suicide, and you would like to share that journey of overcoming. Please contact me at the email shown below. I know I'm going to put it there for consideration for a future podcast interview, because I rely on viewers like you to share their stories. That's exactly how Sheryl came to the fold here. Thanks again to Marketplace.live for their continued sponsorship to bring these great stories to all of us. Marketplace.live, find what you need and get what you want. I also want to thank everyone out there, especially my family, my beautiful wife, Cindy, our military, veterans, and first responders who put their lives on the line every single day. And please don't forget about our teachers and medical professionals who all make the world better one person at a time. But most of all, thank God for all the blessings in our world. We just need to make sure that we concentrate on those great blessings every single day. Until next time, my friends, carpe diem, seize the day.